Alright, so hopefully this works. Alright, so hopefully this works. I hope it's updated the title. Because if not, then the title is gonna be awkward. Drop frames, none so far, so it looks like we're going good. Oh wait, I don't think I set recording. Oh wait, recording's gonna be like 2 hours long, so how do I... Whatever. Alright, so I'm gonna be programming, and this might just be easier to just have it open on this, so I'm just gonna be doing this, YouTube, because Twitch makes no sense to me. Makes sense to stream on YouTube, but I don't know. Streaming here instead of Twitch. Okay, got it. This is really the link? How do I... Where's the stream link? Oh, it's right here. I was gonna say, that doesn't make sense. Alright. Hold on, let me cut it down. Alright, so this is gonna be me coding some PHP here. I'm gonna basically create a basic database. So, let me close all this and do this. Hold on, close this. So, first we're gonna start... Hold on, let me pause my music. First, we're gonna start with a basic database. So, we're gonna create a database for adding items to a database. So let's create the database. I'm using my local host. I'm using an XAMPP for my hosting, basically locally. So this comes with PHP MyAdmin basically, and you can create databases this way. There are servers that have a way to, they either have a PHP MyAdmin or they have another way to do databasing, which you can easily connect to easily. My dogs are barking, so let's create a database real quick. Let's do for YouTube, and then this doesn't really matter that much because collision, it'll just either be Latin, Swedish, Psi, which is the most common thing. So first, with a database, you have to create tables, and then within tables, you have data. So there's multiple ways where you can create a database. You don't have to create it through here. You can create it through code, which I don't want to, unless you're doing a repetition of like, oh, this person signed up on this day, or I don't, like, it's hard to think, because with this project, we're gonna add towards this sort of like the, hold on, my Streamlabs, how do I, 480 frames, that's only, why does it say stream health? Your viewers may be experiencing minor issues. I don't even have any viewers, first of all, so that's only myself. So basically, let's just, oh, now it's green. Green light lit. Alright, so let's create a table. Again, it doesn't have to be anything, so let's just say users. Number of columns. This would go in for like, usually you would want one for ID, which is an auto increment, so it would be like user, if you sign up, user 1, user 2, user 3, user 4, and so on. That is usually what most data tables have, an auto increment ID. It's just there, so it's easier to locate data if you need to spit it out. So then you can be like, grab this user where user ID equals ID. With this, let's just basically say user, let's have an ID. So basically, let's just have an ID. We're going to have a username and a password. This is just basically creating an account. Of course, you can do user email. You could have like most websites will probably have more than that. You'll have email, phone number, and so on. But This is just the basics of how to do making something like this. So this is just 3 columns. We'll go, and once it loads, so this is basically gonna be what? Hold on real quick. It's only streaming in 480. Hold the phone. Hold the cell phone. What am I doing here? Output scale resolution. I'm changing that real quick. Alright, I should be back live streaming. I fixed it so it's at least. Let me refresh this, because I need to at least have 720. There's no way I can do this with 480. Come on. And good thing I didn't really do much yet, because well, it's going out the frames, but how do I? Oh, there it is. Alright, it's in 720. Good thing I didn't really do anything yet, because that would have been painful to see afterwards. So name, basically, we're just going to do ID. This is going to be username. And it's going to just be password. With the ID, we're going to have it as an int, and we're going to have it auto increment, and it's going to be a primary. The size of it, we're just going to do 255. The size of the username, 255, 255. We're going to put these as varchar, because these are going to be characters that people can use. Varchar basically includes, like, I think special characters, or, I don't know, it's various characters, basically. So, int would just be integers, text is just text, date would be, like, date. I mean, there's really nothing to these. You don't really have to mess with these. Usually with these, we just put Latin, Swedish side. In my own opinion, I do not know why, or in my own thing. Mime would basically be, I think, like posting data, such as posting, like, here, images. It'd basically be creating like a collection, or like I'm not exactly sure, but I've done something with this before, and it's very good. I'm just gonna say this right now, real quick. I'm not professional. I'm not. Take what I say. Exactly. Look, there's an error already. Take what I say with a grain of salt, because I do not know a lot of this stuff. Now wait, what did the error say? Prefix to use the key part isn't the string used. I don't think. I think that will work. Hold, what? There. I don't know what I did really, but of course there's errors. Table comment. That's primary. So basically this is all we need. So with this in hand, we basically have our thing set up. So basically with PHP, we're going to have a form, and we're going to have a database. With the form, we can do a basic form with HTML. So, oh my god, I do not know how to type. So with this, we're going to do method equals post. We're going to do action, and then action will basically perform the database.php. This will basically, so then when I have my button type submit, we're going to need a name here as submit, name equals submit. So basically, this, what I've just done was basically, I just created, did I really not drop any frames, or am I high? That makes no sense whatsoever. What the fuck? Streamlabs says I've dropped no frames whatsoever. I don't understand that at all. But if so, then let's keep going. So, basically, with submit button, once you hit submit, it's going to perform this action on this page, which we have not created yet. So basically, let's just create a simple, I like to at least colorize my page. So at least it's somewhat nice to look at and not just a plain white text. So first we're going to do an input type text. The name will be username. Then input type text name equals password. Now we could do this differently. Instead of text, we could just do password, and that way when we put it in, you can't see it. And this is a good way for, I mean, this is basically just, hold on, let me just do this real quick because there are certain things that I need to add. So let's look at this real quick. Let's pull this up on here and we'll look at it. So, look at the wrong one. YouTube form. And of course, I have to do this, localhost / that. There. So, of course it looks ugly because it's red. I liked gray before. I was using gray for something else, but gray looks good in my opinion. So, with that at hand, now we can go ahead and create the database side of things. So basically, we're gonna we need to make a connection to our localhost database to this website, sort of, like not even a website, but you get what I mean. We need to make a connection. So with this at hand, we're gonna do PHP. Now we need to do. We could easily do this. I've seen multiple ways of doing this, and the easiest way that I've seen is just and then we're just gonna do basically this. So this is gonna be I've either got these two mixed up, but it's gonna be localhost root because it's gonna be like from yourself. So it's basically saying like it's going through it's itself. I don't really know how else to explain it. And then we have to put, this would be for password. If your PHP MyAdmin has a password, you'd put it there. Most often, you would have a password if this was a professional one. Your password would be encrypted too, so it wouldn't just be anyone. That's like if you don't encrypt your password, it's the easiest way for someone to insert data into your database in which you don't want. You don't want other people putting their data that you don't want into yours. It's basically they're hacking into you, and they can do anything with that. So that we're gonna leave blank for now because this is just a local test. We're not really actually publishing this, so anything that's being added here. So let's just fix this real quick. Add a user. So, and then this one is going to be the name of the database. So when we made for YouTube, we created our database our table name as users, but our database is for YouTube. We need to connect to for YouTube in order to connect to the whole thing. So we're going to save that. Don't forget the semicolon. We need to do a connection. I'll do result equals the MySQL connect, and then it's gone. There's another variable. Hold on real quick. like I said before, it's been, like, I'm not really that professional at it. I got that. So it's gonna basically, forgot to do one thing here, forgot that. I'm just making sure this looks good, so when it does get used. So, alright, so I fixed it. Okay, so now we're gonna do if is set underscore post submit. This is basically saying if button is submitted, do this. Let's comment this connection to database. Alright, and we have yet to do this, so we're gonna do a variable called we don't need the variable of ID, because ID we don't have. ID is an auto increment number, so therefore a variable for it that won't make sense because it's automatically generated within the database, not something to do with the code. So what we're going to need to do is username equals, and then we're going to do post. There are different ways you can do this. This is just the simplest way, and then inside the brackets it's going to have the name. So we see how we named it username. We're going to have the name in here. This I like a lot because it differentiates the way of, like, it gives name a purpose and it gives it a reason to, like I don't know, like, because there's different ways you can do things with HTML. Between name, ID, and class, you can do so many different things. So we're going to just do it this way, and then we also need a password. Post password and like that. So now we need to do we need to set it. So right now this is just calling it. So if I say echo username, it shouldn't. What did I do? Oh, wrong thing. Because my SQL is depreciated. I forgot to do this one thing. Include form.php, and then that should work. Oh. So wait a second. So basically, if I had done that, and then there's different ways you can do this. When I code PHP, I mix it around a lot. Like, there's so many different things that I can do here. That's strange. Let me try this because of this. I don't believe it should be. Huh. That's strange. Did I mess something up? Let me check. I think I might have messed something up. Hold on. I'm looking at my other code because, well, let me just show you here my other code. So sign up, I've done that. Like there's different ways to do stuff here, and I'm trying to remember. I mean, this is just a sign up stuff, but because this is how we're gonna basically create the user, because it's gonna be like insert into users. So basically, let me just explain how this works. Right now, I have a website, or I'm working on a website just for, that's my admin. I'm working on a website here for myself for something else, and I'm working on, it's a project I'm doing with PHP and MySQL and stuff. So with the sign up, I have it all signed up, so I could just hold on. Let me just log in, because I already have a login. Oh, that's right. Hold on. Let me sign up somewhere else. I don't want to share my whole name, but it's kind of already out there. Alright. So I've signed in. Let me show my database for it. My database for this is basically like simple, because it's, where is it? Users, and it creates all the users here. Now, essentially what I can do here is, like, I have a game here. I was messing around with something here. That's just code there. And then I have a log out. And then when I do a sign up, I also have a reset password, which actually works, which a lot of websites don't have, because a lot of websites have the issue if they need to send you the email. I'm going to try and get this set up so it has 3 different forms of verification. Email, username, and phone number. If someone has all that information from you, then you've got to change something, because that's your issue, not really much of the websites. Because if I have your username, your email, and your phone number, you have some problems. You're gonna have some issues. So I would finish up mine here, but I honestly just kind of streamed on the spot. Like, I did not prepare for this at all. If I had prepared for this, I would have already made it, and then I would have already made it and would have it copied onto another screen, and then I'd be copying it as I go and then explaining it. So I'm just going to explain this part. So basically, I have my sign up form. Where is it? Here. So this is my sign up form. This is the basic form, and I have 2 forms inside of here, because it's got doing 2 different actions. Method is post, because it needs to post all this. Then the reset password link. So when it goes to sign up, there's 2 different ones. This one's to verify, such as empty user ID, which is the username, empty password, if you forget to put your password in. It's basically just to check everything, like, oh, you forget to do this, you forget to do this, and yeah. This is basically checking if the email's empty, if this is all empty, which this can all easily be done with just required. Just making this whole thing required, which I don't like doing, but I'm gonna have to, because it's easier to have this required than have to do all this, because then it doesn't make sense. I have this set up so it creates the hash password, so your password is encrypted, it's hashed, and that way if someone did stumble upon it, they can't, like, if someone can't really hack your password, basically. So I have this all set up here. I'm working on I have an admin panel, which with most PHP websites, the biggest thing you have is the back end. The back end of, like, every website that's PHP is probably the most difficult to build, because the front end is just simple. Like, it's basically displaying data or just spitting out data from your back end. With your back end PHP, you basically have to work with this database. So I'm still working on the back end. It's really, like, it's very hard because I'm almost there, but almost not there because I keep getting errors. So I'm just gonna stop it from here. I'm gonna, next time I do try and stream, like me coding something that explains something, I'm gonna try and show it where I already have it made, and then I just copy it back and forth, so it's a lot easier to do, rather than, oh, I messed up, I don't know what to do. So I'm just gonna try that and hopefully see what happens. And I don't know how this thing works, because Streamlabs is strange. I haven't had one viewer at all, and I've been streaming for 26 minutes. So hopefully this gets some views. If you like the video, if you have any questions about PHP, let me know. I might be able to answer it. I might be able to direct you to answers. Yeah, let me know. Alright, I'm gonna stop the stream now. So I'm gonna, stop the stream now, and then I'm gonna be doing another stream shortly of just me, probably just me coding, or I don't know. Yeah, probably just me coding and listening to music, so I'm not really gonna be, I'll have a screen open for it, but yeah.